The Terrifying Allure, unlocking the psychology of horror movies. Why do we do it? Why do we willingly sit in darkened rooms, hearts pounding, palms sweating, deliberately subjecting ourselves to fear? We jump at sudden shocks, recoil from gruesome sights, feel a lingering dread long after the credits roll. Horror movies shouldn't be enjoyable, and yet they captivate millions, from the silent screams of Nosferatu to the cosmic dread of modern masterpieces. Horror is a global phenomenon, a multi-billion-dollar industry built on making us uncomfortable. What is this strange, terrifying allure? The answer lies not just on the screen, but deep within the labyrinth of the human mind. Welcome to an exploration of the psychology of horror. To understand horror's power, we must travel back, way back. Our ancestors survived because they were exquisitely tuned to detect and react to threats. That sudden rustle in the bushes could be a predator. The darkness hides unknown dangers, the feeling of being watched, a vital survival instinct. These primal fears, fear of the dark, fear of predators, fear of the unknown, fear of death, fear of isolation, are woven into our very DNA. They trigger our most ancient defense system, the fight or flight response. When faced with perceived danger, real or fictional, our amygdala, the brain's alarm bell, screams, adrenaline floods, our system, heart rate skyrockets, muscles tense, senses sharpen, blood diverts to essential limbs. We are primed for action. Horror movies expertly hijack this primal wiring. They create simulated threats that feel terrifyingly real to our lizard brain. The suspenseful build-up, that's our amygdala gearing up. The jump scare, a direct, visceral trigger of the fight or flight cascade. We know it's just a movie, but deep down, the ancient parts of our brain aren't so sure. Horror works because it speaks the fundamental language of survival. So, if horror triggers genuine stress responses, why doesn't it feel purely awful? Enter the concept of catharsis. Dating back to Aristotle, catharsis is the idea of purging or releasing strong emotions, particularly fear and pity, through art. Horror provides a safe, controlled environment to experience intense fear, confront our deepest anxieties: mortality, loss of control, bodily violation, the monstrous other, from the comfort and safety of our couch. When the threat is vanquished, the credits roll, or we simply turn off the screen, there's a profound sense of release. The tension dissipates, we survived. This controlled exposure can be strangely therapeutic, a way to practice facing fear without real-world consequences. Closely linked is the feeling of mastery. By enduring the film, by making it through the terrifying sequences, we prove to ourselves that we can handle fear. We test our own resilience in a consequence-free zone. It's a psychological workout. We emerge feeling stronger, more capable, even exhilarated. Think of it as emotional weightlifting, the heavy burden of fear, and put it down again, feeling empowered by the effort. This sense of accomplishment is a powerful reward, reinforcing our desire to return to the darkness. Horror isn't just about the payoff. It's masterful at the build-up. Suspense is the art of delicious, agonizing anticipation. Directors like Hitchcock understood this implicitly. It's the creaking floorboard upstairs when you're home alone, the character slowly walking towards the source of a strange noise, the audience knowing the killer is behind the door before the victim does. This is called dramatic irony. Suspense works because it engages our imagination. Our minds race ahead, conjuring possibilities far worse than anything explicitly shown. It forces us into a state of hypervigilance, mirroring the character's peril. This prolonged tension is often more psychologically potent than the release. And then there's the jump scare, often maligned as cheap. It's a direct neurological shortcut. A sudden loud noise, a rapid movement into the frame. These exploit our acoustic startle reflex and visual orienting response. It's an involuntary, hardwired flinch. While it provides an instant, intense jolt of fear, its effect is short-lived. The real artistry lies in combining jump scares with genuine suspense and dread, creating a layered, lasting impact. The jump scare makes you leap. The suspense makes you afraid to sit back down. Monsters are the beating heart of horror, but they are rarely just monsters. They are manifestations. Sigmund Freud introduced the concept of the uncanny, something familiar made disturbingly strange. Think of dolls that move on their own, doppelgangers, or the living dead. This violation of the familiar creates profound unease. Monsters often represent our repressed fears and societal anxieties. Vampires and zombies can symbolize disease epidemics, loss of self, or the fear of the contagious other. Slashers like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees often represent unstoppable, irrational violence or punishment for transgression, especially in teenagers. Psychological horrors tap into fears of madness, losing control of one's mind, or the monstrous potential within us. Crucially, we often identify with the victims. Their fear becomes our fear. We see ourselves in their vulnerability. Their poor decisions don't go in the basement. Their desperate struggle for survival. This identification intensifies the emotional experience, but sometimes there's a darker thrill, a flicker of identification with the monster. It might represent the release of our own repressed rage, desires, or the seductive allure of power without consequence. Horror holds up a dark mirror, forcing us to confront the shadows within ourselves and the anxieties swirling in our culture. Close your eyes during a horror movie. What do you hear? Chances are the soundscape is doing half the terrifying work. Sound design is arguably horror's most potent psychological weapon. The absence of sound can be deafeningly tense. A sudden dissonant chord, a stinger, can make you leap out of your seat. The low, rumbling drone of impending doom vibrates in your chest. Everyday sounds, a dripping tap, a child's music box, a distant scream become charged with menace. Music manipulates our emotions directly. Minor keys, dissonance, irregular rhythms create unease. Silence primes us for the shock. Our brains are wired to pay intense attention to potential threats in our auditory environment. Horror sound exploits this perfectly. And what about what we don't see? Suggestion is often far more frightening than explicit gore. Our imagination is the most powerful special effects department. A shadow moving just out of frame, a glimpse of something inhuman, the sound of something lurking just beyond the light. Reach these force our minds to fill in the blanks, conjuring horrors tailored to our own deepest fears. What we imagine is almost always worse than what can be shown. Masters of horror understand that the monster revealed often loses power compared to the monster imagined. Horror isn't just personal, it's profoundly social. Throughout history, horror films have reflected the collective anxieties of their time. The atomic age birthed giant mutant creatures. The social upheavals of the 60s and 70s fueled the rise of the nihilistic slasher and zombie films reflecting societal collapse. Today, we see horrors exploring technological paranoia, pandemics, climate dread, and deep-seated societal inequalities and prejudices. Watching horror can also be a shared ritual. Gathering with friends or in a theater creates a communal experience. The shared jumps, the nervous laughter afterward, the collective release, it builds bonds. It allows us to confront universal fears together, reinforcing social cohesion through a shared, safe encounter with the terrifying. It's a controlled way to explore the darkness as a group. Not everyone enjoys horror, and enjoyment varies wildly. Why? Personality plays a key role. Research suggests individuals high in sensation seeking those who crave novelty, intensity, and complex experiences are often drawn to horror. They enjoy the physiological arousal it provides. Conversely, people highly sensitive to anxiety or fear cues might find it overwhelming and avoid it. There's also the phenomenon of desensitization. With repeated exposure, the initial intense shock of gore or jump scares can lessen. However, truly effective horror, the kind that builds dread, explores psychological terror, or taps into deep existential fears, often retains its power regardless. It moves beyond simple shock to something more profound and unsettling. The psychology of horror reveals a fascinating paradox of the human condition. We are creatures hardwired for survival, instinctively avoiding danger. Yet we possess this unique capacity to seek out simulated fear, to dance with the shadows in a safe space. We do it for the thrill, the catharsis, the sense of mastery, the social connection, and perhaps to better understand the darkness both within and without. Horror movies are more than just cheap thrills. They are complex psychological playgrounds. They reflect our primal fears, our societal anxieties, and our enduring fascination with the unknown and the forbidden. So the next time you feel that familiar chill, that delicious dread, remember it's not just a movie, it's a journey into the deepest recesses of the human psyche, a testament to our strange, enduring need to confront the terrifying and emerge, blinking back into the light. Thanks for exploring the darkness with me.